Hi, this is Dave with Cascade Manufacturing. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how to measure for your stair system. Here at the plant, we're going to be demonstrating how you would measure for your stair system off a structure like this, for example. So we're going to be installing a stair that comes from the production floor below up to this platform. So the first thing that I need to know is the distance between the top of our finished floor, which is literally the surface that you will be walking on when everything is done. In this case, it's this industrial grading, to the top of the finished floor below. In this case, it is what you're looking at down there. We have a concrete slab. Nothing's going on top of it. It's important to measure from what the actual finished surface will be. If you have a finished floor, whether it's marble or wood or carpet, you want to be measuring off the top of that. If you don't want to be measuring off your framing. You want to be measuring off your finished floor surface. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the center of my landing, which is basically going to be between these two rails. So, I got 8 feet, so I'm going to mark 4 feet. And I'm going to be measuring, I'm going to be taking my measurements from the outermost point of my floor. So whether that's a extended nosing on your balcony, or if you have a square corner, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, the furthest point out is what we're concerned with. So our point is going to be top of finished floor and the furthest point out, which in this case is the edge of this beam. Okay, we've got our curtain laser set up to highlight the edge of our platform. So you notice I have the beam of the laser running parallel to the surface of the platform. I've ensured that the edge of my beam running parallel to this surface. If we move the beam out just a little bit, and I've just set a board here over the point you saw me making earlier. If we move the beam out from the surface just a little bit, I'm actually able to verify where it is in relationship to the nosing of my upper landing. In this case, we're a ½ inch. I measure a ½ inch out from the nosing. So I'm going to come down here to my right under the center point of my landing. I'm going to come down here to my laser. I'm going to register the laser. I'm going to come back that ½ inch. I'm going to make my mark. I'm going to do that in a couple places. So what we can do is I can take a straight edge and I can connect these lines. And then I'm going to have a line on the floor that simply represents that top nosing in this east-west dimension. Simply made a straight line connecting our 2 points so that I have a frame of reference of where my nosing for the second floor is on the first floor. What I need now is I need to locate it in this direction, 90 degrees to the platform. So to do that, we've taken our curtain laser and we've set it out away from our upper landing. And you can see that we have, in this case, the bottom of my platform is exposed. So what I want to do is ensure that my laser beam is registering parallel to my structure in this direction. So if you're in a living room, for example, or an entryway, you can do that by measuring from the laser beam on the ground to the wall in 2 locations, here and out a little further, making sure you get the same number. In this case, we don't have a wall over there, but I do have this platform. So what I've done is I've ensured that the laser beam is even measurement from there to the platform edge, and I've come forward and also checked it from here to the platform edge to ensure that it's parallel, so that I know it's 90 degrees coming straight out from our upper landing. You notice I have a board sticking out right here. So the point of that is so I can see where my center point of my landing is from below. So I know if my beam's in the middle of the board, I've set it over the mark we made earlier. So I'm going to take the mark we made on the floor. I'm going to simply put a board up against it to have something to register my tape measure to. And I'm going to come out to the base of my stairs. So how do I know where the base of my stairs is and how far to come out? Well, you got to do some math. So our basic stair math is going to tell us we want to take our distance from the top of this nosing platform. See if I can do this uncut. And we're going to come down to our floor. We want to take that measurement to our finished floor. Now that's finished floor to finished floor. So we're going to take that measurement and we're going to divide by 7 for starts. 7 is kind of our central number, our typical rise, how high each step is. So we divide by 7, you're going to get, or so actually we got 18 in a remainder, okay? The remainder was closer to 19, so we're going to round up to our nearest whole number of 19. Now you're always going to have one more rise than you do step, because your last rise is simply going from the step to the top of your landing. So we had 18 steps. That's what I know, okay? 18 steps, and we have your average run, or length of each step from nosing to nosing is 10 inches. So that tells me I want to come out 180 inches from this line. So I'm going to place my tape against the board that we set there, and I'm going to follow my laser line on the floor, and I'm going to come out 180 inches. So I'm following my laser line. There's 180 inches that I'm looking for. Simply going to make, got to do it with my left hand so I don't see my shadow. So I'm going to make a cross mark at the number and the laser. So I know this point right here is the center and base. It's the beginning of our stair. So my first stair nosing, it doesn't necessarily tell me where my first rise is, but I know that the edge of my first nosing is going to line with this point, and I know that the middle of the first nosing is on this point. So that's a good place to start with to get our final height, which is not the same as what you saw me doing over there. The reason it's not the same is, especially if this was we're outdoors, for example, there's no guarantee that this is in a level plane with where I pulled my rough number for the stair calculation. It's okay. Over there, it's a rough number. I'm going to round off to the nearest whole number. It's not so critical, but now it is critical. I need to know the true elevation between this point and the top of that nosing, which is not necessarily the same as directly underneath that nosing. So we're going to use the laser again to do that, and we got to go upstairs. So I've got our curtain laser set up again now. Got it setting on the finished surface of the upper landing. So one thing about lasers, when you're using them to get your final elevation, if I put my tape in front of this laser, you see I have an offset it's not telling me that it's not right on the floor. That it's measuring 1.5 inches exactly. It's not always going to be 1.5 inches. It depends on the laser you're using, but you need to know what it is, and you need not to forget about it, because when we measure to the laser out there in the floor, which we're going to do in a few minutes, we have to remember to subtract that 1.5 inches so that we know we're actually registering to the floor. If we don't remember to do that, our stair is going to be 1.5 inches too tall. And that's a sad thing. So we've come back downstairs. I have my tape setting on our mark that we made that represents the base of the stair. And you see you got a red line where the laser is up on the tape. You're going to want to be up there with a ladder in reality to get a good eyeball on that. I already know what it is, and so I'm just checking it again. But you want to get that measurement that's coming from the finished surface of the floor all the way up to your laser, which is sitting on the floor above. So we're going to take that number, and you're going to subtract your 1.5 inches, which is the laser offset. It's not always 1.5 inches. In this case, it is. That number is our total rise. That's total rise from finished floor to finished floor. And we also now know our total run, which we figured out with our math equation just a minute ago. So those are the two pieces of information that you need to know to build your stair. Total rise, that's finished floor to finished floor from the point that is actually the base of the stair, not from directly below your nosing. And we need to know total run, which is based on the math of our rough rise, which you can pull directly from the nosing, provided you're not on a severe hill. So there you go. Whether you're installing a stair in a nice finished space in the back of a building or in an industrial space like this, it's basically the same process to determine your total run, total rise, which is what we're interested in to build a stair that's going to work for you.